what do you do when you come home? When Barry Kramer's off the clock and he's at home, what do you do?
Netflix and video games.
Oh, okay, so just right back at it. Nose the grindstone 24/7.
Pretty much. I mean, it was definitely more prevalent when I was the sole editor of the channel, because I would spend all of my days, like the people who watch our show, just going, how the fuck are they so bad at this game? And so it would make me want to play this game more, or a different game, which is like, I need to actually get my hands on a controller and do something, because watching someone play a game is a very, very different experience than playing one yourself.
I will admit that I want to crack Aaron over the head with a 5-iron every time I watch the Mario part, or the Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
Have you played it recently? It's not easy to do.
Well,
the controls are janky as fuck.
Yeah. Those controls and the cameras
You
is
have
terrible.
to give them credit. They're janky, and the camera sucks.
Also, the fact that you can make Jay rage like that is fantastic, and I support. He needs to play it worse, just so I can see the reactions.
That would be really.
Yeah,
fun.
I'm gonna do a kind of a side-by-side thing, just a time lapse of watching those videos and see if I can just do the ones faster.
Oh god, I did see someone on the Game Grumps subreddit synced up with the YouTube Doubler website, the first episode of the Game Grumps playthrough of Mario 64 and a speed run. Yeah. And it's they're just getting to the top of Bob-omb Mountain or whatever, and it's Bowser's dead. Credits.
I think the current record speed run is 5 minutes.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, to beat the whole game. Now they're exploiting certain glitches in there because they don't have the required stars.
But even then, even without glitches, it's still probably within the length of an episode, you could still beat the game, which is ridiculous.
Well, I'm not gonna throw them that far under the bus, but I'm glad you went there.
I'll fucking say it.
I'm fucking where you at?
Yeah, fuck you.
Hanson, Avadan, what's up?
Thug life.
Thug life.
I'm not afraid of nothing.
At the same time, though, it's something that I've learned firsthand now that I've recorded a bunch of episodes as a commentator, that it is very goddamn difficult to competently play a game while having an intelligent, interesting conversation.
I completely understand that. That's exactly why I'm having Phil play.
Exactly. I just got a hooker in my car and drowned her in the ocean.
Good job.
Nice.
Like a gentleman.
Good job.
As a gentleman would.
Yes. All that money will weigh her straight to the bottom.
It's fine. She's fine. Everything's fine.
So
well, I heard horse float, so.
Well, it's that silicone implant, It's like those little floaties.
Anyway.
So really awkward floaties come up to the. Okay.
Hey Ben, remember when we were talking about stuff?
So what's your game first of all when you come home and play recently?
For the past few months, it's been Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate.
So brushing up on the more Monster Hunter plays.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been going through the single player for the most part, but I don't know. It's the kind of thing where, I'll get home and I'll be like, okay, I have 2 hours before I should go to bed, so that's enough time for one episode of something on Netflix, and then I'll just spend the whole night not doing the things I want to do, and I'll just browse Reddit all night. I don't know. My brain's weird. It's I only have so much time, so I'm just gonna go to bed, but I can't sleep, so I'm gonna do things that I like, but I'm not gonna be all right, I'm gonna sit down and play this new game that I got for a dozen hours. I've a crazy backlog of stuff that's half finished, and I just don't do it. So I don't know.
I definitely understand that. Having I browse Humble Bundle every week, and I've got over 500 games in my Steam library, and wow, my story is becoming very similar to that of Steam Train.
You bought too many games.
Yeah.
The quintessential Steam debacle.
Yeah, it's why do I play or buy all these games when I'm not playing them? Well, I can't answer that myself. I'm sure some psychologist would love to tell me how I feel about my parents, and how that relates to any of this. So, what's your show that you're watching through, or shows?
I started watching House of Cards not too long ago, but I'm 3 episodes in after a good couple weeks. So
powering through.
I don't know. I was watching Top Gear. That was my show. And
and
then they removed
Jeremy just getting fired.
Well, yeah. So like a couple weeks ago, like probably at the top of the month, Netflix removed like the first 17 seasons, and I was
wow.
Okay. I mean, I've already seen the most recent stuff, and then all this stuff with Jeremy Clarkson just happened. I was like, okay, I guess now's a good time to just kind of stop watching Top Gear.
Well, I don't know choice in it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know crap about cars, but goddamn, do I love that show.
I think everything sorry, just choking on stuff. Okay. I think pretty much everything I know about cars is through Top Gear as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's probably all rubbish and just learning how to make fun of your friends.
Yep. Yeah, and it's all about like petrol and liters and stuff.
Yeah, Top Gear. That's sad. Being a somewhat of a car enthusiast, and primarily because of Fast and the Furious and Top Gear. Having Paul Walker die and now Jeremy Clarkson quit. Way to run right into the building.
I was trying to
jackass.
I mean, at the same time, you can't feel too bad for Jeremy. He did punch a dude in the face. So.
Allegedly, right?
Yeah,
I headbutted his fist.
Yeah, it's
that's probably
context,
how That's probably how he would phrase it, but yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, he'd been warned many times for various other reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, his time on a government-run network was coming to an end anyway. I do hope that they find a home, on something like HBO or whatever the equivalent would be over there. I have no idea. Because that'd be great just to see what they would say when they're not with their leashes not being held by government sponsors.
Well, right, but isn't BBC funded by tax dollars? It was my understanding that there weren't really sponsors. It was just the BBC itself.
Yeah, it's the government. And that's half of the reason why they were able to get away with so much. But then also half the reason why Jeremy was always in trouble. And
right.
So, actually, I would say that's all the reason.
Right.
Jeremy's always in trouble.
Yeah. But yeah, besides Top Gear and House of Cards, I've been gradually getting into the world of anime. And there's a pretty good chunk of that on Netflix. So I recently watched Gurren Lagann and really enjoyed that.
Gurren Lagann's so great.
Yeah. Kill la Kill is next on my list, I believe. And also... What was that?
Cowboy Bebop.
Haven't seen Cowboy Bebop, and Dan loves Cowboy Bebop, so he gives me shit for that every chance he gets.
If you would like to borrow my special edition Blu-rays,
well, yes. Just go ahead and send them to P.O. Box.
Yeah, the ones that I have signed by the main cast.
Yeah, just drop them in the post. It'll be fine. It won't get lost. I watched Death Note and Attack on Titan, which Attack on Titan I'm reading the manga of. The anime fucking ruined me. I was like, I need more.
Yeah, so. I definitely feel you on that. I'm probably going to have to start doing that as well because I don't think they're going to even start making an announcement about a Season 2 until maybe next year.
Yeah, what I've been reading is next year is likely Season 2.
Yeah, but I've been told up and down that everybody that thinks anything after seeing the first season is just wrong. I accidentally read the Wikipedia one day, and so I know some spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers, but yeah.
Never.
Aaron was reading it, and we were talking about it for a while. He was reading it, and I was like, "No, I refuse. I'm gonna wait till the second season comes out." And then I broke and read the entire thing in a day.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna get spoiled for me if I keep waiting.
Yeah, and so Aaron was halfway through whatever content there's been since the anime ends, and he's like, I don't know if this sucks. It's really kind of changes pace and a lot of focus is placed where you don't really care, and right now, literally, as we're talking, things are really heating up in the manga, and it's oh shit, things are happening. So it just took a long time to get there.
Aaron's view is always really on point with a lot of the storytelling, and I wish I had that kind of view on stuff that he does, because otherwise I'm blissfully ignorant on a lot of story points. Anytime I'm watching a movie with Phil here, he's just like, "Oh yeah, I saw that coming a mile away." It's like, how? It's just like, well, they said it.
It's so obvious.
It's so obvious.
Oh my god.
Stuff like that all the time, and I just like to be stupid and just not care and just let the story be told the way they wanted it to.
And unless a helicopter wouldn't crash that way, and then you won't shut up about it for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I am also the guy that because we just saw The Kingsman today, and I almost went on a tirade about how a VTOL Learjet wouldn't be able to fly the way they want it to because they had no propulsion on the front end, nor would a missile be able to guide its way through space with just fins because there's no air to guide it. But, that's neither here nor there. It just proves a point that I'm kind of anal about some things and not others that are important.
You're anal about the details, but not like the story brushstrokes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of very much the same way. I'm not super critical of movies, at least while I'm watching them. While I'm watching something, I tend to just try to turn my brain off and get invested into it, and then after the fact, I like talking about it. But yeah, I've had this experience multiple times where I've seen a movie with a bunch of friends, and especially like these guys who I work with, Ross and Aaron are animators, they're storytellers, so they're very much in tune with these kinds of things, and I'm not a storyteller, so I don't pick up on those details. Like, I remember we saw Skyfall when that came out, and I walked away from that going, that was fun. And they're like, that sucked. Like, the second act had all these problems, and there was no motivation. And I was like, I thought it was fun. So, like, maybe it's just, like, different standards or what. I don't know exactly. But I don't know. Like, for me, games are the medium that I really love to dive into and really pick apart and figure out, like, what's going on. And most other media, I'm happy to just kind of accept it and then talk about it. I mean, it's really fun to talk about, a shared experience like that, like seeing a movie. But I'm more happy to just kind of forgive mistakes and be like, yeah, like, it wasn't great, but it was a fun time.
Well, then let me pick your brain, just kind of going completely off the rails on that one.
Sure.
I assume you played the first BioShock.
Yes.
And it's only because we were talking about this last night, me and my friends here, that we were just thinking, you get to that moment at the end where you realize that you've just been brainwashed by this guy.
Spoilers, bro. It's only been like 10 years.
Yeah, it's been like a whole different generation.
It has been like 10 years, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Almost.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, three other games have come out in its wake. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, hold on. What year did BioShock come out?
We're gonna look this up.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. 2007. So it's been
shit.
Really?
8 years ago.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I played it for the first time when it was ported to the PS3, which was 2008 or 9. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, just the whole "would you kindly" thing.
Yeah.
And now, do you feel like that you were honestly influenced at all by that, or you just felt like that was a particularly well-placed narrative?
I kind of have mixed feelings to this day about the whole "would you kindly" thing, because on the one hand, what I really like about BioShock and BioShock Infinite is that they both kind of have meta-narratives about game narrative. And, BioShock is all about this, well, you think you're making decisions, but you're making the decisions that I'm telling you to make. And
yeah, I mean, at no point are you actually influenced by him saying "would you kindly." You're not really brainwashed.
But you
That's
are,
the objective
right?
of the game.
Well, he asked very kindly, so I did.
Yeah, part of the agreement between a player and, game developer is, as the player, I'm going to do what you tell me to do. There are ways to
cooperate to a degree.
To a degree, of course. And you're going to explore and bend the rules, and some people go as far as to hack into things and break it and pick it apart. That aside, when you're playing a game as it's intended, you are accepting this "would you kindly." They're saying, hey, would you kindly go over here and shoot these dudes? And you're like, okay, that's what you're telling me to do, and that's how I progress in this game, so I'm not going to question it. And so that game kind of pointed a light on that and said, hey, pay attention to this, because you're just blindly agreeing to this shit. And that applies to other video games as well. So I thought that was actually really interesting. And BioShock Infinite kind of has a different approach where it's talking about its whole multiple universes thing.
The multiverse.
Which again, like, spoilers and all that. And there's this sense in BioShock Infinite that your choices don't really matter, but they do. So, like, when you're playing a game, and it's like this structured, linear experience, the main story beats are going to be the same every time no matter what, but the tiny details are what you're in control of. And even if it doesn't impact the broad scope of it, it's up to you to decide how important those details are. So, like, in Bioshock Infinite, you decide what brooch Elizabeth wears, like the bird or the cage, and it has no impact on the game at all. But it's unique to your experience what you chose and why. I mean, unique within a binary choice, of course, but that applies to games as well. Whereas, you know, even in the first Bioshock, like, you have these main story beats, but these small details, these experiences you have, the Ludo narrative, if you will, these experiences you have that are unique to your game, those are unique to your universe of that game. So that's what I kind of pulled from Bioshock Infinite that I thought was really cool.
Like the Walking Dead kind of Telltale games, but those do have a significant impact.
Pure story-based games are a very different kind of conversation altogether, where you're making these choices, and at the same time, though, everything is scripted in a Walking Dead game or any of the Telltale games. Every choice you make is scripted. There's nothing you're doing that's outside of. You're not really playing with that structure. I love Telltale's games. I think they're fantastic, but when you're playing a shooter, you're given a system to run around in and experiment and have these kind of emergent experiences where a dude jumps in and at the exact time you blew him up and he flew into a thing and it caused this chain reaction. Like, they didn't script that. They give you a structure, and you're kind of having these random encounters take place within this environment.
And those are typically the most memorable parts of them.
Yeah, because those are unique to you, and those are the stories that you tell. The term for it is Ludo Narrative. Ludo means play in Latin, or ludus, or whatever. So Ludo Narrative is the sort of the story of your game. Like, a game like Minecraft is 100% Ludo Narrative. It is entirely stuff that you are experiencing because of the structure of the game. It's not scripted narrative that someone wrote down and designed into the game with, you know, animations and stuff.
But there's a common ground, because everybody's got that story about how that time that they fell in lava, or because some fucking creeper got into their base and blew all their shit up.
Mm-hmm. And then there's this whole other thing, especially with Bioshock, because Bioshock, there's this game designer, Clint Hawking, who designed Far Cry 2, and he wrote this blog post called Ludo Narrative Dissonance in Bioshock, or something like that. And he basically coined this phrase, Ludo Narrative Dissonance, that now kind of has like a mixed connotation to it, of like, it's an aggressively wordy name, but the main point is that Ludo Narrative Dissonance is when what the game is telling you to do and what the game systems encourage you to do conflict. So in Bioshock, his point, if I'm remembering correctly, is the game is sort of presenting you with the City of Rapture as being this objectivist ideal world where everyone is being selfish and, you know, Randian objectivism, hoorah, and the city's literally crumbling. The game's telling you this system doesn't work. When people are purely selfish and motivated by their own desires, it falls apart. But the game system is telling you to be fully selfish and self-centered, and that you're murdering everyone and taking everything for yourself. So the game is on one level telling you, you know, be good to other people, because when you're selfish and self-motivated, everyone dies. But the game's systems, these sort of subliminal messaging of the way you play that game, is that you need to be selfish in order to succeed. So there's this dissonance here where like the game systems conflict with what the narrative is telling you. So it's a whole big conversation of stuff, but it's Bioshock alone is like a very kind of notable game in that regard. That it started a lot of conversation.
Concept that he comes up with, being that, I don't know, Far Cry 2 not my favorite.
Far Cry 2 is an oppressive game. That game is difficult in many ways.
Yeah, just the guns breaking, the fact that you can fix every vehicle on the Earth with a wrench to the radiator.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? You mean you can't?
Well, only if the radiator's broken and you have that wrench.
You need a
wrench. And just the constant, I guess, search for scripted malaria breaks, I guess. Mm-hmm. It was almost like the Zombrex from the
from Dead Rising.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, but in terms of like my own experience kind of playing games and learning about them and getting excited about them, probably the first two games that kind of opened my eyes of, whoa, like games might be even more interesting than I thought, of just them being fun. Probably the first two were Shadow of the Colossus and Passage. those were the first 2 games that I finished and then went, what just happened? And what was that experience? And I think that was very unique to this interactive medium. Passage, if you're not familiar with it, is a in-browser game. You can play it in like 10 minutes by Jason Rohrer. And it's not even something I can really talk about. You just kind of have to play it, but you just play as a dude, and it's really simple pixels and stuff. And I don't know, it's one of those kinds of things where you could play it and just be like, that was stupid and a waste of 10 minutes. But for me, it kind of opened my eyes, because at the time, I didn't have kind of a vocabulary about games. I hadn't really critically thought about games. And Passage, to me, was this moment of, I was just told a story through game mechanics. And what does that mean? I don't know if you can pick up, there's a fire truck going by.
Oh,
yes.
That was the game. I was like, Phil, what'd you do?
Some with fire trucks.
That's fine. It's fine. So, yeah, so
you know what I did?
By the time I played BioShock, I'd kind of already been having these conversations in my head and like trying to find stuff online. And then while I was in school, I started taking classes at NYU that were with the NYU Game Center that were related to game design and critically thinking about games and stuff. So,
yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to play through the Metal Gears and tell me what I should think of those.
Oh, God. Well, I love the Metal Gear series. You know,
well, Metal Gear Solid 4 was amazing. I love kind of future tech games like that.
4 was probably my least favorite of the Solids, but it's a very, they're all really just goofy. There's nothing like them really that I've played, so they're just really fun. I'm excited for Phantom Pain.
Yeah, that game it's probably the most excited for a game I've been in a while, other than like a Halo. But I love Halo. Shut up, Meredith.
Wait, you like Halo?
There's nothing wrong with liking any game.
I know, but you didn't strike me as one of those.
I read the books of Halo. Like I am up to date on the chronology and just the lore. If you want to learn about, Sergeant Johnson's exploits before he got involved with the Pillar of Autumn, I'll tell you.
Yeah, let's do it right now.
No thanks, bro.
Right now, let me just bust out my dissertation I wrote.
No.
I haven't played a Halo since Reach, I think, but I remember really getting into the lore.
Great.
After that, I was like, this is enough.
Oh, then they were like, hey, this is now, what is it, Activision or something?
But I feel like that Halo is one of those game properties that actually would make for a really good movie, because the lore is so interesting and rich and kind of unique in a lot of ways.
Well, in a way, they've made 3.
Well, they made those short films. Neil Blomkamp did them, and then he made District 9 when the Halo movie fell through. So I'm kind of glad the Halo movie fell through, because I love District 9. So, it's all good.
Yeah, I would have liked to see, because you can see a lot in what they did with the crew they had on hand with District 9, and how that would have lent itself really well to Halo.
Yeah.
I would like to see Master Chief in District 9.
Yeah, just blasting all these prawns apart.
Fucking prawns.
Prawns. Just throw the bus driver up. Pal, zoom straight to the curb. But yeah, it's... damn, where was I going? Oh yeah, Phantom Pains.
Yeah.
Honestly, 4 was the first Metal Gear I played myself. I watched my friends play the other Metal Gears. And those were pretty trippy experiences, but just having that personal experience with 4, it was really cool, and just going through all that and really experiencing firsthand how much Hideo Kojima really hates players messing up his movie.
4 is probably the most guilty of that, I think. It feels the least freeing of the ones I've played.
Well, there is 8 hours of cutscene in that game.
I mean, that's something you expect going into a Metal Gear game. People like to hate on it, but that's what that experience is. I remember beating Metal Gear Solid 2 for the first time, and just putting on the controller, and then an hour and a half later or whatever, being like, oh, there's credits. I beat the game.
Oh, I don't actually have to do anything else here.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's I don't know. It's very unique in that regard, especially in the kinds of games that I tend to play, where I'm excited to get a cutscene in those games, because they're just you never know what to expect. It's not going to be some oh, Snake, now you got to go there. It's no, now you're dealing with a crazy dude with dislocated limbs jumping through the trees and shooting darts at you, and you're like, okay, I guess I'm fighting this dude now. Like it's so wacky, and at the same time takes itself very seriously. So it sets a really weird tone that I don't really have the words to describe. But I love those games. They're so fun.
How do you feel about Kojima most likely being just unassociated anymore with it?
I mean, he's been saying since, what, 3? That was his last Metal Gear game, and then he's made like 5 since then or something. So I get the sense that he really doesn't want to make Metal Gear anymore, and he keeps getting wrapped up into it, or like his team is working on it, and he's like, no, you're doing it wrong, and then he steps in and ends up directing it. So if this is actually like a breakdown where Konami's like, no, you're done, then I'm really excited to see what he makes next, if he still wants to make games, of course. So I'm 100% down with him to make something that's not Metal Gear.
Oh yeah, a lot of these creators that get wrapped up in stuff. I mean, just now I'm brain farting on Mario. What's his face? Made Mario.
Miyamoto.
Yeah, Miyamoto. I would love to see what he could do as an original character after 20 years of not being so original.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know how much of that is him and how much of that is Nintendo, because they've done a lot of really out there stuff, and then they tend to just tie it to existing franchises.
Yeah, and I might be just putting him as, the target of,
right,
you
like,
are Mario and all that.
I kind of doubt Miyamoto is the master of IP at Nintendo, but they do have Splatoon. That is a brand new IP that was really fun. I played at E3 last year. So I don't know, they're still doing stuff. It's just they're not kind of churning out creative new characters at the rate they used to. And I think a lot of people get down on them for that.
Yeah, well, I feel like as fans we're also partial to blame because, as the more older, more, I guess, hardcore... I guess hardcore wouldn't be the best term, but non-casual players, the more avid fans, tend to get caught up as like, these are the characters we love, and, well, anything else that's new and tries to innovate, gets pooped on.
Sure.
Well, I think
in the process.
Even people who are casual, like, change is scary. So some people are like, oh, this is different, I don't like it right away, and they don't give it a chance.
Well, nostalgia also plays a part
exactly,
too.
Yeah,
because
there's
you're like,
games.
I know that this isn't my Mario.
Right, exactly.
And I think that's...
Like Mario 64 and how...
Exactly, yeah.
I feel offended that they didn't see very many stars that I could have gotten easily.
People think that like newer games aren't as good as the older game eras, and they're like, oh, only the games made for SNES were good and shit like that. So I think that there's more at play than just like, I think that the change being what it is, there's that to consider too.
Oh yeah, and stuff like the recent Grump playthrough of Zelda 2.
Exactly.
I never actually played the original Zeldas. My first one was Ocarina of Time, and I loved it.
Yeah, same.
And just really big on Zelda games past that, but I'd played maybe at an uncle's house when I was a child, the first one, and not really thought anything of it. But then seeing Dan just smoke all that game was just really awesome, just seeing him play it and be enthusiastic and knowledgeable about it. Whether or not, he did some research doesn't matter. It's really cool just to see the enthusiasm behind the game and just be knowledgeable about it. And it's stuff like that. And just kind of going back on, the future of YouTube and the industry that you guys are in at the moment. If there's a future to guess at who's going to have it right, I think you guys have a good leg up on it. Just the amount of content that you guys put out and the consistency that it's well received and liked. If there's something, some money I could put down on it, it would definitely be behind y'all.
Well, thank you very much, yes.
Yes, so where can I write this check to? And
just P.O. Box.
Yeah, but and so I look forward to seeing anything new that you guys want to put out, and hell, if you just keep on making the same old shit until you actually do run out of games, that'd be great too.
I don't think we're in any danger of running out of games, but
no, definitely not.
Yeah,
definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm for one, I'm really excited of what's to come. You know, we're just for a long time our biggest problem is just we've had too many ideas, and you know,
good problem to have.
Yeah, like hiring Kevin on allows me to start working on some of those projects, and we're starting to experiment with these different types of ideas and outsourcing certain things so we can just make more stuff. So it's a very exciting time. Just we want to make more stuff, and we're doing it.
That's awesome. So as one last thing, I guess before I let you get out of here, because thank you for all your time.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah, what do? All my videos together, I think, are 100 views.
Most of them are me.
Yeah, just making sure that the audio is correct.
Still hitting refresh.
Hey, but, I really like this joke of mine. Let's hear it again.
Hey, remember when I said this? Here, let me pull it up. But is there anything you would like to plug, or maybe give us a preview of what to expect in the future?
I kind of feel like I did that earlier, like so.
Saying do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just we got Guild Grumps coming soon-ish. I don't want to give a date because I don't know how far along everything is, but hopefully soon, and that's gonna be really cool. We play games 3 times a day on Game Grumps. That's always a thing. We have do you know when this is gonna go up? Because I don't like
hopefully
next
soon,
week
because
or
I
the
haven't
week
recorded
after.
any footage.
Right. Next week or the week after, we're gonna put up a new piece of merchandise that I'm really excited about. So
Okay, I can put it up later if need be.
no, but go ahead.
Okay.
Just I don't want to tease what it is because it's really stupid. But
that's right up our alley.
Yeah, that's perfect for internet stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So Meredith's over here. It's good. Yeah, I know all about it. It's great.
Yeah. So look forward to that. Just more stupid crap. That's what we're good at. So that's what we'll do.
You ever watch Pure Ownage back in the older days of like pre-YouTube?
Was he the Boom Headshot guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really big into that whole kind of scene, and I'd even gotten a chance to go to Toronto and meet the guys that made the show. But one of the dumbest things that they put out there, and they were shocked to the day they stopped making it, that sold so well, was just a sound box of their phrases, which I still have of, just boom, headshot, and it's just a keychain sound box.
But now are like the batteries dying, so it's like
yeah, it definitely does. It's pretty creepy, and they played with that on the show a lot too, because you can only say that so many times by yourself and not want to live anymore.
Yeah, we did do a Game Grumps keychain, but it only had one phrase. It was just like, where are the Game Grumps? And that, I don't know. If we were gonna do another keychain, we'd probably try to cram more phrases in there.
Leave it in, Barry.
Yeah. You got it.
I'm on it.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks for taking the time out to chat with us. Hopefully I can schedule something like this in the future when I'm either more popular or more funny. Either or works for me.
Whichever one comes first.
Both, preferably. Soon.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just been real pleasure getting to know you guys through MagFest, and I know just working with all your fans at MagFest too has been just kind of otherworldly. Mm-hmm. That they are that kind of avid for you guys, and I definitely see it. You guys are very homely and very kind. Very down to earth and kind to all of them, and you're very deserving of the accolades and gifts you receive at these events.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for all the help you've done for us over the years at MagFest.
Shh, nobody needs to know that.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm just going to stop